Hello. We are back, and just wanted to make sure I've got all my various things in the various places. We're here. We're going to do some more stuff. We just picked up Rin as a companion here, as in Torment, Tides of Numenera, and we are going to start kind of casting about and figure out what the heck we're doing next. So, once again, let me actually make another window slightly narrower. There we go. Okay. They are whistling. So, let's look back at the map again and figure out what we're doing. Now, I guess sort of it would be kind of irresponsible to put off for too long taking the kid to see a doctor. We know where one is, so we should probably go and deal with that at the very least. We're in Cliff's Edge. Okay. Well, there's a surgical parlor right over there, though. I mean, that is the thought. Just a question, sort of, shall we wander around a bit first? We'll go ahead and wander around a bit first, and just kind of figure out what we're doing, and kind of go from there. There's a hovering thing. And then there's a person leaping around. And there's a tormented levy. Why the levy is tormented, I don't know. Let's find out. This levy is not like the others you've seen. The wide smile is absent, and his oddly shaped eyes are red, wet, and haunted. He stares past you, whispering to himself, and turning a small charred object over and over in his hands. Ah! I remember, this is the one that we were supposed to talk to for the individual who's hiding in a corner off to the side, because it's their levy. Yeah, alright. He appears to be looking for someone, and having spoken to Finzen, you can imagine who. The aura of shame around him is so powerful that you can practically taste it. Let's start soft here. What are you holding there? He says, then grimaces as though his words hurt him. I'm holding my shame. His hands unfold one bloody soot-covered finger at a time. A crudely made wooden bird lies there, painted in pinks and pale blues and charred around the edges. Yeah, that represents your shame. Represents? No, this is my shame, and I'm holding it. He swallows. I can't put it down. Okay. Yeah, sure. Vincent sent me to find out why you're following him. Yes, he says, the despair melting away. In that moment, he looks like a child with a child's desperate hope. He knows, too, doesn't he? He sees what he did, what we did. Tears leak from his eyes, trailing down into his mouth as he continues. When the machine ripped the ear from him to make me, I felt the choices unraveling before me. He hugs himself. I see them coming. None of it can be changed. All right.
I'll remember that.
Apparently we'll remember that. Flawed simulacrum. Tell him this, for me. The Gillam Manor job did happen. A servant caught him, called the levies. They chased him and he set a fire. His eyes squeezed shut. The fire spread through the neighborhood. People were trapped. People screamed. His hand clenches over the charred toy bird in his palms with a soft crunch. Please tell him. Tell him I'm with him in the dark. Hiding from the mob, sobbing. Tell him to give me a different year, a better one. Oh, good Lord. I see, this is very interesting because I have to wonder if this is a future year, if this year has not happened yet. It's a good question. What kind of year? A year without the blackened door, he says earnestly, without the hand tangled in the grate, the weeping in the dark places. Dark places. Silent tears stream down his face. He doesn't seem to be aware of them. Wails rising with the glowing ashes. My arm's bound with ragged rope. Every time I'm there in those last minutes, I try to apologize, but my mouth... His fingertips brush at his lips. My mouth is full of dirt and blood. Okay. Is there anything else we want to talk about? I don't think so. Okay, very well. Okay, let's go back and have that little chat with Vincent about it. Who's that? Loss of self. Excellent. We definitely need to talk to them because, I mean, we experience plenty of that in real life. This is... The dilapidated structure has been converted into a cheap boarding house. Inside, people sprawl on filthy mattresses in a dimly lit room. Excellent. That's where we need to stay, because it'll be cheap. No, we can't stay there. Okay. Yo, Finzen, got some words for you. Did you find out anything? He asks, eyes darting around you to check on the distant levy. What's normal behavior for a levy again? I've spoken to the levy. He mentioned something about a Gillam Manor job. You what? Finzen says, going pale. Keep your voice down. You tell anyone about this? No? Good. He lowers his voice. I have to be unspecific about this, understand? Before I became a citizen, I wasn't a nice person. I took things for money. And just a few weeks ago, certain people told me they wanted me to rob Gillam Manor. He grimaces, rubbing his neck. I was going to do it, but then I became a citizen. Gave up a year of my life to create the levy. That levy. You might want to not do that. Something changed, he says, frowning. All of a sudden, I couldn't get the dangers out of my head. How thick the levy patrols were like, or how the captain herself was looking into one of my older adventures. It was something we talked to the captain about. Don't know. It's been a while. He plays with the apron strings hanging from his pocket. So I cancelled the job and started working at my aunt's bakery. I never did the Gillam job, and that's the truth. So yeah, the levy is seeing what would have happened if you did the job. He wants another year from you.
Making a note.
Oh, I get it, he says, rolling his eyes. It's a shakedown. Give me a year or I'll tell them what you did. Well, I ain't done nothing. Well, I ain't done anything. I never killed anyone. And I don't owe him nothing. I can't keep handing out years like they're free. Let's see. You make a valid point. That's not fair. He's suffering for what you would have done. Based on what he said, it sounds like becoming a citizen saved your life. There are a couple different ways we could take this. But yeah, we'll go with this one. And that was my decision, not his.
Making a note.
He groans. I'd go up to the government square and tell the captain of the levies what he's up to. If I had any way of explaining it. Hey, your levy's following me around. I think it's because he haunted my criminal past. He's haunted by my criminal past. I can't speak. I think it's because he's haunted by my criminal past. I need to practice again because I am out of practice doing accents and various other things. What would telling the captain of the levies do? What good would telling the captain of the levies do? Give the levy another year of your life. If you started fresh, you should get the same chance. No, we're too low on intellect. Never mind, we'll talk about something else. What good? Levies ain't supposed to follow their citizens around. They ain't supposed to get all weepy either. Telling the captain would take care of the problem for sure, but I ain't about to try it myself. You want to try talking to her? She's in Government Square. I'll see what I can do. Wait here. Good luck. Just don't, you know, tell her too much. Really? I mean... I don't have the title affinity skill. That would have been nice. I should have thought about taking that if I could have. Nope. Okay. Alright, so we gotta think about that. So that's a thing to think about. So many things. So we did that. Told Vincent what the levy wants from him, rejects the idea of getting up another year of his life to appear to be in an impasse. It's up to me to decide how to resolve the situation. According to Vincent, I could report the levy's strange behavior to the captain of the levies, who could be found in government square. I mean, I feel bad about that. Okay. Well, enough of that. What's this thing?
Why not?
I'm so curious about what this thing is. It's a bridge, isn't it? I have to talk with loss of self because it's loss of self. The young woman clutches herself and growls low and continuously under her breath. Pearly white light shimmers from a vial on her wrist, and her eyes are red-rimmed as if she's been crying. You've never seen her before. A lot of people with red-rimmed eyes in this game. You've never seen her before, and yet your hands are sweating and your breath catches in your inherited chest. Shame burns in your throat, hot and sour. Your body recognizes her, even if you do not. This isn't you. Only I am real. You don't need to fight me. Interesting. Leave me alone, she mutters, and it's a moment before you realize she's not talking to you. You took my face, stole my family, whisper at me in my own voice. Isn't that enough? Isn't that... She breaks off when she sees you. She's in my head, and she won't shut up. Talk loud. Talk over her so I can hear you. You hear a woman in your head? You hear a woman in your head? Yes, she says, biting the word like an enemy's throat. Now stop talking about her. It brings her forward, and she clings. She whines, and she won't stop, so please stop talking about her. I am not some woman. I am you. Please let me in. Oh. Interesting. I'm sorry, but I want to hear about the woman in your head. I'm such a mean person. Let's first talk about what is that shining object you're holding. She flinches but reveals the vial strapped to her wrist. It glows with an inner light, and the tiny ripples within seem to cast moving shadows on her palm. I woke up one night in a building I'd never seen before, she says, soft and low. I found this beneath a pile of blackened scales. If you shake it, it makes a picture. Watch. She jiggles the vial and holds up her other hand. Indistinct shadows mimic the motion of her palm. That's a dangerous weapon. You should give it to me. Why are you holding on to it? Because I feel like it was mine, she blurts. Because I feel like it was mine, she blurts, then grimaces as if the words escaped without her permission. At any rate, it's mine now, and I don't need more of a reason than that. It's mine. I don't need more of a reason than that. Yes. No. No, don't take that from her. I have no reason. Talk about something else. Good, she says. Yes. No, every time I think about her, she inches closer to me, pulls on my arm. Stop talking, asking about her, please. Closer. You want to let me in. Why fight me? So I don't really feel like it's ethical in real life to try to trigger someone's MPD. I don't want to, but at the same time, the game is probably going to either add that or I have to try to steal that thing from her, I guess. I know, I could just walk away, just like a normal human being would. However, I think this character would probably push a little bit more. Fighting only hurts you, let it go. This is terrible. I feel bad about myself, but I'm going to press this again. Okay, alright. Not gonna get through right now. Can I look at that again? No, I mean, I don't have any reason to try to swindle her out of it. We don't have anything else to talk about. We're gonna leave this alone. We're going to try not to be as evil as we seem to be in my mind. This. What's this? These 3 triangles float serenely above a scuffed stone basin. You can't help noticing that the citizens of Sagus are giving this monument a wide berth, so let's walk right up to it. The largest triangle shines brightly, radiating a soothing warmth. The middle, darker one hovers above it, turned slightly away from the first with what strikes you as disdain. The third is small, dryly amused, and so deeply indigo as to be nearly black. It's removed from the first 2 triangles. You hesitate. You are sensing emotions from these objects. Intent. Something is strange here. Touch all the triangles. No. Let's look at the basin first. The stone is cracked in places, but far newer than the ancient shapes that float above. You suspect that the citizens of Sagus added the basin to make the triangles look less out of place. Yes! I mean, are these 2-dimensional objects? Hang on, I'm going to step away from the monument, and I'm going to save the game. Because that, to me, sounds like a great idea. The 9th world, where every tiniest thing could possibly kill you if you're not careful. Okay. Claw of Mark. Okay, yeah. I'm going to study the medium triangle. Staring at this triangle is disorienting. The longer you stare at it, the more you feel a tight, coiling sensation in your own head. Standing on your toes and stretching, you manage to brush the triangle's icy face with your finger. Oh, crap. You blink, swaying in the half-second before you open your eyes. You hear the thunderous crack of wood on wood and the rumble of distant voices. You snatch your hand from the triangle. Let's touch the large triangle. You reach out and time slows. Your hand drifts past individual motes of light, dappled dust, moving into the warm glow of the largest triangle. Calm warmth bleeds up your arm when you grasp the edge of the triangle. It's somehow rigid and flexible at the same time. The air thickens like a weight over you, and you struggle to keep your eyes open. Between the thumping of your heartbeat, you hear thousands of purposeful, rhythmic footsteps treading endless stairs toward the peak of a vast, echoing room. Is MC Escher trapped in there? Examine the smallest triangle. The tiny object spins slightly faster than the others. The more you stare at it, the more you sense a glowing presence in the air. The icy regard of distant eyes. Ah! You blink and a strip of light unwinds ahead of you like a path through infinite murmuring dark. Behind you is an ever-shifting zoetrope of linked motionless U's. Zoetrope is, I believe, a film technique. I have to go back and look it up. It's been a while. It is, or I could be completely wrong. It's your past, you realize. Every second of it, every choice pouring out of you and trailing away into the black. You open your eyes. You're back at the stone ring, still touching the triangle. All 3 of them are watching you. You blink again. And gain XP. The strip of light, the surrounding darkness, and in the valley between the slow pulsing of your heart, you hear the murmurs of countless witnesses, the raised voices of your past and future companions, the heated condemnations of enemies you haven't met yet, and above it all, a trio of voices, one warm, one cold, one dryly practical. They're speaking a verdict, but you can't hear them over the din. So, I kind of want to hear the judges. Red tide rose. You bellow into the dark, clenching your fists, and the crowd instantly falls silent. So do the judges, damn it. In the echoing silence that follows, you realize that you are alone. You always were. You stride on. Red tide raised. The path unravels before your every step. Your past unspools behind you. Sure, let's stay on the path to see where it leads. You follow the road. Casually, you look to the right, and the path at your feet flickers as if anticipating a new direction. Clearly, your choices define this road's course, and not the other way around. You open your eyes. The three triangles hang in the air exactly as they did before, unmoving and silent. The vision is gone. And yet, you can still feel the choices you've made curving away behind you like a string of jewels. You straighten, moving into the future, breath by breath. It's neat. You suddenly notice a message carved into the stone ring beneath the triangles. Judge yourself as you watch it slowly fades away. Really? Probably won't work when we try it again. We'll see. Yeah, the presence you sensed is gone. Alright, we'll try medium again. Hard to focus on the questions that trouble you. Okay. That's all I think we're going to get out of it for right now. I don't think... We might have made the wrong choices to be able to proceed along this whole thing and touch all the triangles. Allow me, briefly, to go out of a window that I am in right now because I need to do that, because it just beeped at me, and we can't have that. We can't have it. Alright, back to this. Okay, let's talk to this monk-type person. This martial artist. Aiden Sitabo. Or Sitabo. Or Sita, I don't know. The large, muscled man is practicing some form of martial art. As you look on, he is wearing an old, white, rough-woven coat with the sleeves torn off, and a red bandana is wrapped tightly around his head. He seems to be moving much faster than his size suggests is possible. He glides between stances as swiftly as water. His fists are blurring hammers, striking at invisible enemies. His bare, calloused feet snap and slash at the air like knives. Yeah, where'd you learn to fight like that? By challenging the deadliest creatures and studying their killing blows, he says. I lack claws or teeth, but I do the best I can. Okay. You're very fast. Yes, Aiden says. The Drebel's gift. His hand slips around an invisible assailant's arm. He snaps it with a stab of his elbow, then crushes his enemy's throat and flips him over his shoulder to the ground. Jasanthram array! He shouts, spinning over the invisible adversary's corpse to deliver a triangle of jabs to the chest of his next attacker. The entire set of moves took no longer than 4 seconds. He catches you staring and smiles. You must be wondering why I'm shouting. Not at all! Yes. I'm not surprised. I must look like a lunatic, he says before spearing his opponent's jugular with 3 fingers. Canted thrust! It's because I watch too much anime. It helps me focus my breathing, my strength and will. It reminds me of how weak I once was, and how strong I've become. No, that's not it. Focus breathing, strength. Yeah. Mantra-like things, that works. Alright. Years ago, I was a starving beggar. I managed to steal a wedge of pie crust and was terrified that someone else would take it from me. So I hid inside that metal structure over there to enjoy my feast. Bite of the hidden crab, he says, clawing his enemy's eyes. Just casually while we're doing this. The stale crust crumbled into pieces between my eager fingers, and something strange happened. They drifted toward the ground like the softest of snowflakes. I was able to pluck each of them from the air before they fell. Huh. Yeah. At first I was delighted, then I wept. How far had I fallen? That clean food was a miracle! He sighs, then delivers 4 more blows to the air's belly. But the miracle never ended. The longer I lived in that shelter, the more I could slow the world by concentrating. I swore never waste this gift. I would honor it by becoming stronger, faster. I would challenge the predators of the world and take their killing blows from them. I would never be prey again. Crush stomp! I bet I'm faster than you. Yeah, right. No, I'm not going to say that. Because I am not. Farewell. I mean, you might be able to get something out of him, but at the same time, just not sure. Well, what are we looking at here? Yeah. Okay. Let's see now. I believe, yeah, let's go ahead and check out the liturgical parlor.
Fair enough.
Because I think, yeah, was this the thing? Was this, okay, it's up these stairs, I think, probably.
Ready.
This looks interesting. Okay. The shape of this operating table provides little information regarding the physiology of the beings it was originally designed to treat. Ain't that the truth?
Why are the tattoos swirling?
They're not.
Yes, they are. They move all the time. Look, they're swirling right now.
A little conversation going on.
How long are we supposed to escort this delightful jewel?
That's a good question. For a while. For a little while. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to switch the perspective a little bit. Well, that'll be fine. Alright. Robot!
All right.
Small mechanical chirurgeon is roughly the size of your head. At the end of one of its arms, a trio of slender razor-sharp blades flick the air. It's not clear whether it's trying to sense you or warning you to keep your distance. I will examine it. The drone buzzes a warning at you as you lean in for a closer look. The retractable blades leap to your attention. A tiny shaft of light graces the edge of each one, and they taste the air like tiny tongues. But you also notice a panel beneath the blades, fluttering like an insect swing. Beneath you catch a glimpse of a row of saw-toothed injectors. I've seen these before, Allegern mutters. He reaches for the back of the drone, and it slashes at him with an outraged hiss. Your companion dips beneath the blurring blade and pokes an innocuous patch of the thing's plating. A hidden panel flies open, filling the air with an incomprehensible babble of high-pitched voices. See, what we've got here is a sleeping peon. Peon? Paean. Pan. P-A-E-A-N. Okay. Anyway. Peon. Paean. Paean? Paean. Paean. I'm saying Paean. We'll do that. Hello. He says, leaning casually out of the way of another of the drone's furious swipes. And we got XP for that, so good we examined it, yes. Friend of mine has a bunch of wild theories about them. Shame he still had them in his head when one of these things chopped it off. It whirs at his throat, hacking and thrusting. He ducks. One thing he did manage to tell me is that they forget all about you if you don't touch them for 10 seconds. The drone pauses in the air, cocking to one side. Then the hatch slaps shut, silencing the babbling voices. There, says Allegern. See? Okay, we're leaving that alone. Let's talk to this person. This is a person. Let's talk to the person. Journal. This old man's skin is covered in makeup, painstakingly drawn to resemble dark stone. His eyes widen briefly as he notices you, and his face and neck hardens into actual obsidian for a moment. Then he smiles and nods at you, his features mobile. Mobile? Once more, yes. Yeah. Hello. Alright. Okay. Welcome, he says. Sorry about the stone. Polymorphic flesh modification, you see. I didn't see you walk up, and I assumed you were going to cut my throat and take my chirurgical parlor for yourself. Hey, the day's young. Nice. Why would you think such a thing? I do good business here, the old man shrugs. If I were a younger man looking to make a name for myself in the city, I'd kill me too. Oh, sure. My chirurgical parlor is a marvel of the prior world, you see. Just pick an item or a service, pay my outrageous fees. He calls them outrageous on his own. And after only a short to long period of fairly safe but indescribable agony, you walk away with some horrible Numenera bits whirring away inside you. He pokes a few buttons on a device strapped to his wrist, and lights twinkle across its length. The dark, glassy lens focuses on you. Well, interested? Oh boy, am I ever. I can't help but noticing that you're a very honest man. How did you come to know this parlor? Yes. Well spotted, he says, nodding. Clear streaks of quartz run up his prominent cheekbones, revealing the muscle beneath. It's a side effect of my modifications. Couldn't lie to you if you begged me to. He shrugs. Honesty is usually a hindrance to a businessman, but people seem to like it. It's a blessing, in my opinion, he thinks. How'd you come to own this parlor? It was originally a partnership. I think I may have met the partner. We'll see. My colleagues and I spent 2 years digging it out and getting the whole mess working. He sighs. Of course, we had to test the drones before we tried them on anyone else. Customers getting skinned alive on opening day is bad for business. Turns out that was a wise move. Yeah? Yeah, that's a thing. Gorna chose an intelligence modification, and the drones cut off his head to work on it more directly. Muir picked strength, and the drones sliced off her arms. They defaulted to sever in those days. He smiles fondly. Yay! Anyway, 6 partners later, I was the sole proprietor. I worked out the kinks, and here we are, with no fatalities in, he thinks, months. No fatalities in months. The strongest survived. And of course, it might not have been me, but, well, it was. Oh, dear. I hesitate to ask, but show me your list of items and services. Of course, he says. Tapping a few buttons on the broad device encircling his wrist, the lens beams a cone of light directly onto your eye, which immediately begins watering. Blinking, you see a menu of items, seemingly hanging in the air. Yes, let us beam the menu directly into your eyes. That's got to be healthy. I kind of want to know about the encroaching darkness, but I'm kind of afraid that if I ask about the encroaching darkness, they'll try to do it to me. A beguiling name, isn't it? He says, his laugh lines crinkling. I'm glad you like it, because, I'm not quite sure what it does. It's a living creature, you see, that crawls around your body while you sleep. Eventually it takes root in your nervous system and, does something. He shrugs. Could be good, could be bad. Could be both. It certainly won't be boring. 100 shins. No, thank you. I mean, sounds like that's the sorrow, right? Does that not... That sounds a lot like the sorrow. The Numenera analyzer sounds safest. It's quite safe, he says, nodding. Most of the time. In almost 3 out of 5 cases. That's not most! That's a majority! That's not most! And the procedure couldn't be simpler. I need to turn the light on. There! Can you see me now? Oh, boy. In almost 3 out of 5 cases. And the procedure couldn't be simpler. The drone simply saw your skull open. Shove an implant into the right spot, and seal everything back up again. He clasps his hands. Once they do that, the implant will help you identify the purposes of unknown Numenera. It costs 95 shins, but it pays for itself. I'll take it. No, I'm not going to take it. I don't think we want to do any of these things. However, I do need to... I kind of want to see what they all do, because, you know, there's some degree of masochism going on here. The gauntlets. I knew that would catch your eye, he says, digging you in the ribs. We plant long, hollow rods in your forearms with steel blades sheathed inside. Just flick your wrist and out they pop, surprising anyone who mistook you for unarmed. So that's the Wolverine implant. He demonstrates with his unoccupied wrists, making little sounds. Of course, it is the Wolverine implant. 125 chance of the weapon and the work both. No, thank you. You're lost. Interested in anything else? The jagged memory. This, he says with a raised finger, is a tricky one. It's a mesh that fuses through your skin, leaving jagged marks like tattoos. When you attack, you'll always hit your enemy's old wounds, even if they weren't there before. Told you it was a tricky one. He beams proudly. Yours for 110 shins. No, thank you. I could afford all of these, but then I wouldn't have much left. Wouldn't have much left, and I have a feeling I'm going to need what shins I have to spend the night in that hotel. I can't get the encroaching darkness out of my head. Isn't that true? What are blood nanites? It's quite simple, he says. The drones fill your blood with millions of tiny machines that promptly begin devouring you alive until they learn to differentiate between your body and anything that's not supposed to be in there. Ooh. After that, they'll do their level best to purge toxins and illnesses from your body with every pump of your heart. He pauses. In case I wasn't clear, this one is really going to hurt. 95 shins, paid in advance, please. No, thank you. You're less interested in anything else? An artificial eyeball, really? Very popular item, he says, nodding. The meat ones wear out so easily. This one never does, and it'll help you spot things normal eyes miss. All it takes is a one-time cost of 110 shins and a tremendously unpleasant operation. Yes. No. I can't get the encroaching darkness out of my head, quite literally. Living tattoos with mysterious purpose, he says. Only 100 shit, no thank you. The living tattoos with mysterious purpose. Okay. So... this is... yeah, this has got to come from what the Changing God is using to create the Castoffs, somewhat. It's got to be a connection there. Because the encroaching darkness is the sorrow, right? I mean, we're sure it's that. Alright, how painful are these procedures? That is a popular question, he says, and it does vary from procedure to procedure, but if you're seeking a general area... He taps his chin thoughtfully. My customers usually range between shrieking for a merciful death and groaning while soiling themselves, if that helps. But they almost always seem happy with the results, when they survive. He smiles. Now, are you ready to buy something? Can I ask you something? I want to talk about something else. It's too much pain. No. No, that's it. Actually, I do want to just read that real quick of how he did his died. Partners died, still have nightmares. That's it. Okay. Alright. I won't miss you, but I'll miss your money. Yes, thank you. So check these mimics out. No, they're not mimics, apparently.
Fair enough.
Curiosity has struck. I must see what this is. And I can't! These displays show information regarding patients conveniently visible from anywhere within the parlor unless you're zoomed in. Wait, there's another no, that's Rin. Alright. The books jamming the shelves of this desk are divided equally between obscure medical texts and mechanical how-to manuals. So we can't get help for Rin here.
What's going on?
This is the wrong place to go. What's your story? Her brow furrows and she clutches her elbow with one hand. You know some of it, maybe as much as I do. What did you want to know? Yeah, where are you from? Her expression grows distant. It's a better place than this. It's safe and warm, and it's a long, long way from here. For a moment it seems like she's lost in thought, and then she starts talking again. There are a lot of trees there. It's full of growing things. And a little village with a tall wall to keep bad things away. And I have parents there. She shakes her head a bit and turns back to focus on you. That's where I belong. That's my home. I have parents there. I'm not an orphan. Better play this. Did she make this up, or is this a real place? This is a good question. I mean, it would be great if it were a real place. It sounds like a lovely town. What's it called? She smiles and opens her mouth to answer. A panicked expression flashes across her face for a moment. Her eyes dart back and forth before she puts one hand to her injured head. It's Baranth. She looks up, her tiny face grave. Yes, it's called Baranth. Baranth? Baranth. Bar Aneth. Baranth. My village, my home. It's where my parents are. Okay. I hope she's okay. There's something going on in there. How did you get to... if you're why do you speak the same language as everyone else? That's a good question. She tips her head to the side thoughtfully. I don't know. I guess I could also wonder why you all speak my language. That's fair. I mean, you know, languages being what they are. Okay. Did you get to Sega's Cliffs? She shakes her head, tears springing up in her eyes. I can't remember. I remember running and a fire, but it wasn't the right color of a fire. I don't know. Rin looks around, her eyes lost. Then I just remember being here and nothing making sense anymore. I have to wonder if this place might have done something to her. I don't know. She's been messed with. How long have you been away? She scratches her neck thoughtfully. Only a few weeks, I think. She touches the side of her head again lightly with her fingertips. It's hard to remember. When I got hurt, I don't remember the time around then very well. Yeah. Do you think your parents might be looking for you? She looks thunderstruck, as if the thought had never occurred to her before. When she finally speaks, her tone is flat, almost numb, and it's clear that she's talking to herself as much as talking to you. They know I'm safe. They can't be here. They have to be safe at home. Interesting. I know a lot of lung demons today. Gotta clear them out. Rin brings her hands to her mouth slowly. Her eyes terrified and oddly flat, almost glazed. She turns away from you, speaking to something in her hands, her voice too soft for you to hear. She continues like that for a long time, worried and muttering. You realize she's forgotten you're even there. Well, that conversation ended well.
Sure.
Can we try talking one more time?
I'm sorry about last time. I know we didn't finish our conversation. I offer apologies for my rudeness.
Mm-hmm. Are you okay to talk a little more? She nods and gives you a tired smile. Yes, it's just been... I'm not used to talking to anyone except Al about these things. It's harder than I thought it would be. But yes, let's talk. Alright. How are you holding up? I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't come along and saved me. I don't think I'd be alive anymore. I think about that a lot. I don't know how to thank you for it. It's something too big to just thank someone for. Well, yeah, don't thank me yet. We'll have to see. I'm talking about the people we're traveling with. Really? Who? Yeah, what do you think about Alligaron? As though he's not standing right there. He's sweet, she says, and sad. Like an uncle nobody goes to visit. Ah, I'm not sad, kid. Just tired. That's what they always say. It probably is tiring being sad all the time. What do you think of Tiber? She frowns. He acts nice, but I don't think he likes me. I wonder if he really likes anybody. What a thing to say, lass, he says, genuinely shocked. How could anyone not like you? That's the part of what I... That's the part of what I said that bothers you? Well, he says, clearing his throat, you're a delight, lass, and that's all I'll say on the matter. Rin nods to herself a little and says no more. I have additional questions. So many questions. Can I ask you about you? Alright, she says, her brow furrowing. What did you want to know? Yeah, who's Al? That's kind of chief here. Who's Al? Flash of panic crosses her face. What? No one, she says too quickly. Then she sighs and pulls something from her pocket. It is a it is a small dark stone with a hole in it. She's outside your arm's reach, but she still holds it close to her chest protectively. This is Al. He keeps me safe. He knows everything of hiding. Oh, yes. As she speaks, you realize something you hadn't noticed before. You aren't getting any thoughts from her at all. It doesn't feel like you're being blocked, though, which is perhaps why you didn't notice it until now. Either her thoughts are hidden somehow, or she just doesn't have any you can read on the surface. Interesting. Why can't I read your mind? That's kind of a rude thing to ask someone. Those thugs seem to know you were in the building, but how? She grins, her smile is like the sun coming out from behind a cloud. We're good at hiding, she says. We are? Can I ask a few questions about your friend? She brings the stone up to her ear and cocks her head a bit. Then she looks up at you and gives a slightly anxious nod. All right. He's fine with a few questions. A few. I can't help but notice that he's, well, a rock. Don't you think it odd you're talking to a rock? How did you meet your rock? Yeah, I think let's start there. How did you meet the rock? She puts Olive back into her pocket. He's not a rock. He's a stone. Fine, you're talking to a stone then. There's a difference between a rock and a stone? Are you trying to distract me so I won't ask you about your imaginary friend? Listen, I'm telling you this for your own good. If you keep talking to things that aren't there, people will think it's odd. Aww. Fine, you're talking to a stone then. She shakes her head. No, I'm talking to All. He isn't a stone, he's a god. He lives inside the stone. So the stone is like his body, or is it like his house? Has All always been in the stone? Oh, I have so many questions. Stone's his body or his house? She smiles. It's a little like both. It's easier for him to leave than a body, but harder to leave than a house. Okay. But either way, the stone isn't really him. It's a little like a cup, too. Rin looks up at you hopefully. Does that make sense? Moving from body to body does sound familiar. As far as crazy rambling goes, it's top-notch. I think I get it. You typically drink different sorts of drinks out of different cups, but you don't have to. The cup really isn't important. I think I get it. It's like how a cup holds water. The water is shaped like the cup, but the water isn't the same as the cup. I'm not sure I understand entirely. Rin's opinion has improved. Excellent. Good. I guessed right. Her face lights up in excitement. That's it exactly. The water might even taste a little like the cup, if the cup is made of tin, or it might even taste a little like whatever was in the cup before, but you can pour it somewhere else and it's still the same water. She hesitates, then adds, almost the same water. Mostly the same. Rin's opinion of you has improved. Blue tide is raised. What does it mean that he's a god? Rin grimaces. That is a hard question. Where I come from, there are many gods. Gods of health and hearth and home. Gods of road and roam. Where I come from, it's a poor family that has no gods of their own. Yeah. She looks down at the stone in her hand, speaking softly. But here there are no gods. It's like finding a place where people don't know what meat is, or air. How do you explain something like that? And I haven't seen a single god except for Al himself. And he is mine. He simply is. He is my friend. And he is mine. It's her god. Rin trails off, looking down at the stone in her hand. Did you bring Al with you? She shakes her head, her eyes far away. No, I'm... Maid? Maid? Is that the word we're looking for? She breaks off suddenly, hand tightening around her stone, then she starts again. Well, yes, I suppose I did bring him with me. I found him near a stream. I've been carrying him around in my pocket for years. Years. Has he always been in a stone? She nods. He's a very young god. Older gods have usually lived in many bodies. Yeah, we know what that's like. How old is Al? She grins proudly. Only a couple of weeks old. He's so strong for a... She breaks off and looks down at her hand. You don't need to be embarrassed. She looks up at you and grins again. Then she says in a stage whisper, he's embarrassed. Yeah. I mean, calling her out on inconsistencies is probably might just confuse her, but I don't know. You're supposed to go with it when they talk about these things. Years? Weeks? She opens her mouth, closes it again, she's quiet for a moment, then Al doesn't want me to talk about this anymore. I just wanted to make sure you're all right, Ren. Yeah, Al doesn't want to talk about it, or you don't. Let's not. Yeah. Her laugh has no humor in it. Of course I'm all right. Why wouldn't I be all right? I'm far from home. I have stitches where hair should be, and everyone thinks I'm crazy. Even that man who's scared of his own, what do you call it, levy? Even he thought I was crazy. Gold of the tide raised a tiny amount. She puts a hand to her head wound and squeezes her eyes shut. I don't want to ask this, but I don't want to not ask it either. She opens her eyes and looks at you, innocent and pleading. Do you think I'm wrong in the head? I think we've gone through a really hard time, Ren. Sometimes our minds play tricks on us. I don't know what to believe. Your stories don't match. If you're not lying, then it doesn't matter what I believe, Ren. If you keep talking to rocks and trees and bones, people are going to lock you up. Let's go with this one. Sometimes our minds play tricks on us. So you do think something's wrong with me? You took a how could there not be? You took a terrible crack on your head. No, that's not what I meant. I'm only trying to make sense of what happened to you. I don't know. Maybe it'll help to remember more of your past. Like, what are your parents' names? Huh. See, we could switch the topic to the parents, and that might help. Or we could just, in this case, no, that's not what I meant. I'm only trying to make sense of what happened to you. Which, I mean, it sounds to me kind of almost like a non-answer. I don't know if she's gonna... I think she's gonna clam up if I say this. We can try this. Well, my father's name is... She trails off, her brow furrowing. My mother is... Her expression shifts from confusion to panic. No, she shakes her head vigorously. No, Blue Tide raised a tiny amount. I know their names, I do. They're... But again, her mouth stammers silently. Oh, she pulls out the stone and holds it to her face. Her tears glisten on the stone's black surface. Oh, why can't I remember? Why? We need to just calm this whole thing down. What did I do? Her shoulders tremble, fighting the sobs that begin to rack her body. What happened? What's wrong with me? She continues like that for a long time, no longer aware that you're even there. Back to that again. We gotta get her somewhere. Yeah. We need to get to that. There's a person down there. You know what? I'm gonna head back. I'm gonna head back and try to get to. Try to get over to the other Jurgen that we know. This is Cliff's Edge down here. I think there's probably a way up to... See, that's the only thing I'm just trying to remember. And I can't, so we're going to go back this way.
Let's go, all. You and me.
I'm going to save the game first. Okay.
All right, Ren. You can do this.
We need to get her help. Also, let's be over here for now. I need to talk to you. Not right now. There's something I needed from Sylph at some point. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. I need intellect points is what I need. Alright. Need to head back here.
Now.
Just kind of need to see what we're looking at here.
Sure it's safe.
All right.
Okay. Alkin Perry, that's who we need to talk to. Alson Perry. Hello there, she exclaims, catching sight of Rin. She smiles at you with renewed appreciation. It's good to see you. And you, she turns to Rin, crouching down so they're on the same level. Wait, what's this? She reaches behind Rin's ear. When Rin turns to look at what she's doing, Alson taps her lightly on the nose. Rin laughs. Alson smiles. Such a gem, yours? She glances up at you. Her expression softens the look on your face. She stands and takes your hands in hers. You're a good person, she says simply, looking into your eyes as if willing you to believe it. Then she lets go. A foster girl. So few are willing to open their hearts these days. Not quite why I'm here, but I was hoping she would help. No, that's not helping. Oh dear. I charge in for the local children. Anyone else who needs my care. Yes, and so that's exactly why I brought local child here, so that you can help local child. And apparently that's all we can do. Okay, that was helpful.
I must offer apologies again for my rudeness. What would you like to talk about?
I just want to make sure she's okay. That's really it. Before I made you, I asked Hal if you could bring someone to help me. I know it's embarrassing, but he's not the right sort of god for that. He's not the right, but then you came. You're even better than anything a god would bring me. Okay. Alright, let's continue. Okay. Well, that was strange. We can go to the Circus Minor. Underbelly. Yeah. Alright, I guess we just keep looking around down there because if she's not going to help us with the situation with Rin, then there's not much else we can do here. Nope, nothing we can do there. Alright, I thought there was another way down to Cliff's Edge from... I can only see the map that I'm currently in. From the circus, but we'll see. We'll see. Doing a lot of running around now because we've explored enough to be able to do that. Alright. Let's, before we start heading down more stairs. Okay, Cliff's Edge is down there. Alright. Did we need another shield? No, actually she can't use shields. I don't think. She might be able to use shields. Actually, no, she can't. I don't think she can. I'm gonna do this real quick. She reveres the Last Castoff. That's insane. But she's got a shield now. She can at least use that. For the time being, until we figure out what's going on.
Why are you so angry all the time?
What? I'm not angry. I just don't deal well.
I am not uptight.
You're probably making them nervous. Maybe if you were nicer to them, they'd stop making mistakes.
I wish it were that easy.
Okay. So Cliff's Edge is that way. Hey! Alright. Lots of running. I know. Okay. End the nightmare. Excellent. What's this? Airships are known to be nearly uncrashable due to their leisurely cruising speeds and simplified controls. This crash must have taken a rather unique confluence of events to occur. Okay, and they're talking about it. That's Dendra Ohur cultist. I remember hearing about them. I can't remember what I heard. That's a glowing person. Yeah. Eritus. That individual shows up in the journal for some reason, though I have not encountered them yet.
On it.
Okay, they're talking. Stika are vermin. Wait, what's happening? Where are the stitches? Where is it? Wait. Mercenary, merchant. What's up here? Stikos must be stopped. Can you remind me what those things are? What is a Stikos? The Vunkin doesn't care about us. What are these names you were... Here's a how's man supposed to run a business with all this going on? No idea. Can't wait to get my licks in. What are you talking about? Wait. Let us speak to this... Let's talk to this friendly-looking cultist. I smell a feast nearby, do you? What? No, I want to talk about cult stuff. Tiber. No, I don't want to talk to Tiber right now. Let's continue. Although, I mean... We've nearly used Tiber up at this point. I mean, look, we've used Tiber up. We should probably just finish his quest and let him go so we don't have to spend anything on it. It's terribly mercenary of me. Insulting truths free of charge. Protect our houses. What is this Munkin? Slave families. Oh, great. Yes, let's talk to someone about slave families while we're with an escaped slave. That'll be great. Declaiming to the crowd is a well-dressed but sickly-looking man, short, dumpy, and an unhealthy shade of yellow. Despite this, he has the proud demeanor and the stentorian voice of a much larger man. He booms at you as you approach. Okay. Ah, another likely fellow. Excellent! The people have called for deliverance from this ravaging Stickus, and a hero has answered. Most courageous of you. You are all heroes who stand up in the face of conflict.
I'll remember that.
Hidden enemy. He smiles. All you have to do is be the first to find the rogue Stickus that's been terrorizing Cliff's Edge. Return here and tell me precisely where he is, and I'll take it from there. He pats you on the shoulder. And you'll be rewarded, I promise you. As the head of a slave family, I'll owe you a favor, and my favor carries a good deal of weight. Okay, I have a thought. So if he's the head of a slave family, then yes, we still have the kid. The kid is still with us, and that's kind of what I'm worried about because I'm now talking to the head of a slave family. Well, I don't think he's necessarily going to recognize them, but I think if we actually do this for them, then we can get the there's his subordinates to lay off the child. So we'll see. As a slave family, I'll owe you a favor, and my favor carries rating. Can I ask more about the Stickus and its kind? Tell me about yourself. Who are the slave families? Well, okay. Sure. He nods. Of course, knowing the enemy is the first step to defeating it. Okay, what exactly is a Stickus? They are horrible, undermining vermin from another world. They tunnel beneath the streets of our city, undermining our homes and causing them to collapse. Our deaths are nothing to them. They don't even believe that humans are sentient creatures. Tunneling creatures, okay. Yeah, so it doesn't hurt those humans, those creatures, those pink creatures that are building houses above us. They don't have feelings. What else can you tell me about the rogue Stickus you're looking for? He shudders. A vile thing appeared in Cliff's Edge a few days ago, and it's been skulking around ever since. The whole neighborhood lives in fear of it. They should be afraid, I make sure of it. And why is Cliff's Edge so afraid of the Stickus? Some will tell you it's because this district has suffered the most from the Stickus digging, houses collapsing on the people, others falling into the sea. There's some truth to that. But the real reason is that the people here have become weak and afraid. They aren't prepared to face adversity. Yeah, I know. Scan thoughts is awesome. It's so nice to be able to read people's thoughts. Can't read the kids' thoughts, though. We determined that. He leans in, warming to his subject. Indeed, if the sticker didn't exist, I would be tempted to invent them, for they are just what the city needs to stiffen its spine. Sagus Cliffs, our once proud empire, has abandoned its holdings and ceded its territories to autochthonous. I used to know what that word meant. Anyway, autochthonous tribes and wild beasts. It's time to take them back. But how can we do that when our citizens have become lazy, timid children? They are the perfect opportunity. The weak will become stronger. Yeah, it seems like he kind of doesn't want the Stika to go away. You're right. Without conflict, people grow complacent. Active threats keep them on guard. But empires only serve the interests of a lucky few. Most people suffer and gain little in return. People aren't weak. They only need someone to lead them, to inspire them toward a common goal. Sagus Cliffs had an empire? So many things to ask about here. So, I mean, we could argue with him politically right now. Or we could... I mean, I think the way that I've been playing this character, they kind of want to find out more information up front as best they can, so... an empire? Indeed. We held all the lands from here to Ornu's Unagran, who knows? That was before the slave uprising that brought the slave families to power. Some of us seek to reclaim what we lost. Okay. Oh, to live in that age! Sagus advanced so quickly back then. Yeah, I think that the way that we are playing this character, they would probably answer with number 3. I mean, number 2 is valid. But it's not going to get us anywhere with this guy. And the indigo tide raised. And when that leader is gone, the city will fall back into apathy. No, an enemy is what the city needs. In strife, we discover our finest selves, so it has always been. Silver and indigo. Let's see here. I have other questions about the Stika. Go on then. Remind me what a Stickus is. Tell me again what a Stika has been terrorized. What are you doing when people at Cliff's Edge are afraid? How did the Stika come to be in Sagus Cliffs? That's what we want. Several members of the council believe that it's the work of our enemies, that their eggs were brought here from another world. An act of vengeance or sabotage, perhaps. Others think the eggs were always here, and it took them centuries to hatch. He shrugs. But how? It doesn't matter to me. They're here, and they're dangerous. And it's up to every true citizen of Sagus Cliffs to resist them. I suspect the Dream Seeker's working on a larger scale than I can alone. Okay. So, conspiracy. Can I ask you something else? Of course. Tell me about you. Let's talk about you. He puts a hand to his chest and raises his chins. I am Yars Vunken of House Vunken, one of the most respected of the slave families. I also have the honor of serving on the council. He looks around him uneasily. I don't usually descend to this neighborhood, but in such a crisis one must put one's finer feelings aside and do what one can for one's city. Okay. Who are the slave families? He puffs up with pride. We are the descendants of the slaves who rose up with Chila the Great. They smashed the oligarchs who ruled the city and replaced their despotism with fair and egalitarian leadership, creating a city where anyone can achieve anything if only they try. If they only try. Uh-huh. How's that working out for you? That's interesting, though, because if the slave families are the descendants of revolutionaries, are they the same ones that are running the slave racket? I mean, okay. Yeah. I kind of assumed they were the ones that were running the slave racket, and maybe they are. Maybe they're continuing, they're perpetuating it, which is kind of nuts, but it could happen. It could be. I'm going to go back and look in the journal. What can you tell me about Cliff's Edge? Alas, I rarely pass through these miserable streets, so I know little about them. But I go where my city needs me. Sure, let's see if he's seen Matkina. You know her? I don't know who that is, and by the sound of it, I don't want to. She sounds like a dreadful person. Why does he seek the White Death? Oh, okay, you do know who that is. Farewell. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna check the journal here real quick, because... Okay, hidden enemy, I think that's the one. A rogue Stikus is lurking in the district of Cliff's Edge. Lord Vuntkin has promised a reward to anyone who finds the creature and tells him where it is. And Stikus is probably hiding somewhere out of the way, or the people of Cliff's Edge would have found it by now. Okie doke. Good to know. Let's look back at our map again so we can see kind of where we are relative to everything. Okay, that's where we were, up here, and now we're down here. And there's a way leading up here to thingies. And down here is the crashed airship, and we can explore that way. So good, good, good. I think what we'll do is we'll pop up here briefly just to see the bits that we missed, and then we'll come back down and go around like we have been doing. Can we talk to this cultist again? Flesh creeps if you let it. If you let it. I've forgotten what the Dendro her is. Her. Do something. Journal. Wait a minute. Yeah, that something is rattling around in my brain. See, when it says companions, Eritis is actually in this list, so that's probably someone we can pick up if we want to. Although all 4 of our slots are taken for people, so we might have to give someone up first. I, for one, think it's getting close to time to ditch Tiber, but we'll see. I mean, we don't otherwise have a Jack with us. That's the only thing. Got a Nano, got a Jack, we've got a child. We need to resolve these plot lines, man. And it's a pity that the one whose plotline we're resolving is the one who has skills that are different from mine. Because I had to play a Nano. Going through this, perhaps it would have been better to play a Glaive. Just because we start with a couple of Nanos. Alright. The reason I came down here was to see if... No, it's not gone. Okay, slave families, right? For centuries, slave families have ruled Sagas Cliffs. They claim to be descended from the slaves who followed the Shield of the Great Victory of the Old Bosses. Family for the Council of Cities, blah, blah, blah. Become most member council and wheel powers after. Yeah, but that's what it's okay. But then the quest Slayer has been enlisted. Tolmagur. Is Tolmagur in here? Probably not. No. That's the thing. There's just that connection there kind of is bugging me. Alright, let's keep going. I mean, we could ditch Allegaron soon if we wanted to, I guess, to make room. Because we have drained him somewhat. Why do we want to interact with the rocks? Are there things in the rocks? We should check. First, let's talk to Pico. They have names. They all have names.
Sure enough.
Okay. The mutant boy gazes at the entrance to the liturgical parlor, flinching at each scratch of razor metal on metal from within. By your estimation, he is in his late teens, but is the size of a young, malnourished child. His arms are little more than bone wrapped in red speckled skin, and a raw line zigzags down between his mismatched eyes and over his blade of a nose, as if pointing directly at his thin lips. Okay. He sees you looking, and bird-like muscles flex in his frail jaw. Get a good look, he says, lifting his chin. Or maybe you want to call me some names. I hear eggshell a lot. Maybe lightning bolt? I get that one from time to time. He crosses his bony arms and glares at you. Don't let me stop you. Call me some names. Laugh. Do it now, because in another few minutes I'll be the one laughing. Calm down, Earthquake. I'm not laughing, and I'm sorry if I offended you. I don't want your apologies. He sighs. You didn't offend me. Believe me, I'm used to this by now. I'm not going to be the butt of everyone's jokes anymore, he says. Electricity sizzles within the nearby parlor. This time he does not flinch away. Lighting flickers trapped in his determined eyes. I have some money, all right? I'm going to use it to change myself. Change everything I can. He trails off, studying you in turn. His eyes widen, and he glances quickly away, studying the nearby parlor instead. Is he the guy who... Could be a sign. This kid's not old enough to know... Well, maybe. If he's more than 10, but still. What sort of changes are you considering? What do you care, he says. I'm sure you have business somewhere in the city. I don't want it to be any trouble. Why did you look at me strangely earlier? His mouth trembles as though he's wrestling with a question he doesn't want to ask. Doesn't feel good to be stared at, does it? He says at last, looking back at the parlor. He seems to be deflecting your question, though it isn't clear why. He's forgotten me. Doesn't matter. His words to me then mean the same to me. His words to me then mean the same to me now. Great. I just looked at you, that's all. You're imagining things. Why? Why? Okay. Can everyone buy improvements from the parlor? Yes, he says. You pay the keeper, and the drones remake your body the way you want. Alright. These are people we know. Here, let's talk to more cultists so that we can feel better about ourselves. Not much of a talker, I like listening. Ah! Surprise briefly registers on the cultist's face when she sees you, then she slightly inclines her head in respect. Greetings, beloved vessel. How may I help you? See, I feel better about myself already. You seem less differential than some of the other... Grovel more! You seem less differential than some of the other cultists. Why is that? Not all of us revere your father, she says carefully. We simply honor him for his boundless wisdom and bottomless knowledge. We wish to emulate him. She clears her throat. But worship him? No. Good day to you. Well, in that case... I said good days. Squirms. Fidgets. Okay, right. Let's go dig over here. Let's interact with the rocks. This fallen pile of wooden stone marks the place where a house once stood. Walk away. Is there more to be done with it?
Yes. Now.
Okay. That's weird. There might be something there later. What are you glittering? Okay. Alright. Well, we figured that out. Let's head down this way.
On my way.
Okay. I'm going to save the game before we talk to Glowing Dude, because then there may be decisions to make. Like, shall we ditch someone? That's interesting. It auto-saved for me multiple times. Something happened. Probably because I jumped screens a lot. Cliff's edge. Glowing person. Yeah, just go airship. There we go. Rin, that's the name of the character. Rin. This hatch appears to be the only visible means to enter the building. It's firmly sealed. Okay. And then there's that hatch that's also firmly, but that's a different building maybe. I don't know. Where are we? Alright, let's talk. And it's the same thing we found earlier. Here we go. First thing you notice about this wiry young man is the golden haze, the glow surrounding him. It sparkles in his eyes and gives his easy grin a warmth that you can feel right down to your gut. He spots you and straightens.
I know what you're thinking. How in the world did you survive that crash, Eratus? The answer is, as it always is, backflips. But hold on. How did you know my name? Never mind. Not important. Of course you know my name. I'm Eratus.
This is the voice of Kyan Chris Conroy, who does the Technical Difficulties podcast. It's a very funny podcast. I highly recommend it. I knew he was in here somewhere. He plants his hands on his skinny hips and beams. Wait, is this another Jack? Can I trade in our Jack to get another Jack? Yeah, Tiber, we might be about to complete your quest here. This adventure is going nowhere. We are standing still. It is beginning when? It is beginning when? Your thoughts are strange. Don't. That's kind of rude. Let's start with the what's kind of rude to bring up here. So many things to just say that it's like, okay, you got a crashed airship, you're glowing. You're glowing. I think that's the first problem. Or a question, really. Where? Says her, just turning around. Seriously, what is that glow surrounding you? What glow? He says, looking behind him. How did you end up crashing the airship? I'm glad you asked. This is somewhat of an understatement. He looks ecstatic. I was climbing up the cliffs to Caravanserai to see how impossible it was when I saw a star falling toward the reef. He raises an earnest finger. I knew right then that finding the star was my destiny. He runs his hands through his curls. But what was I going to do? Climb down? Boring. Already did it the other way. Walk? Walk? Worse, far worse. No fun at all. Tell them about the backflips. No one cares about the backflips. Tell them! Ah, he's there having a little argument. Good to know. Oh, God. You ever have that guy join your gaming group? Yeah, this is him.
Making a note.
He grins. Then I saw the airship knocked over my head. I raced on up, borrowed the ship, and pointed it right at the reef. His face falls. I don't know what happened next. Despite my expert piloting, the airship steered itself directly at the cliffs. I had no choice. I landed it as fast and hard and safely as possible. Shaking his head, he sighs. I never did find that falling star. At this point, someone else has found it, and it's their destiny now. You're in luck. No, I'm not telling them that. Star's old news now, anyway. Cheer up. I bet no one found that star. That's nice of you to say, he says, his glow pulsing with apparent gratitude. You're kind, you know that? That's a rare thing these days, very rare. People like you deserve wonderful things. Inspiration strikes. His face like lightning. His glow blooms until he's hard to look at. And I'm going to make sure you get one. Let's travel together. Don't say no. No. They will lead us to glory. They will lead us to pain. Join them. Join them. Why should I let you join me? Maybe you can join me another... I mean, I already have too many people with me. But, we'll draw this out a little longer. He gives you a puzzled look as if you've just wondered aloud why air is important. I'm an adventurer, he repeats, brow furrowed. I thought I told you, adventure happens when I'm around, and you'll get to be a part of it. He raises a finger. You'll have to keep up where we go. He stares at the invisible horizon. We go swiftly. Keep up. Where we go swiftly. Strongly, and most of all, handsomely. He leans in conspiratorially. Until you get handsome, I'll cover for the both of us. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Maybe you can join me another time. I already have too many people with me. You do? He looks past you to your companions and recoils in surprise. Were they always there? Yeah, I know. They seem kind of quiet until... Yes, lad, Tiber says in soothing tones. I don't want to worry you, but absent-mindedness is a classic sign of shin poisoning. If you could just have... Maybe I could relieve you of some of that burden. It is? Eridas says, managing to look alarmed and delighted at the same time. Is that dangerous? Oh, very, Tiber says somberly. Let me inspect your money, and I'll look for traces of poison. Tiber, leave the man alone. Tiber's opinion of you has improved. Oh, good. Fine, Tiber says, sighing. Deprive the lad of vital life lessons. You're not doing him any favors, you know. And his opinion has improved. You know, I think if we say we can hear his thoughts, it's not really going to make much of a difference here. Your thoughts are strange. Thoughts? Eritas's eyes widen in alarm. I try to avoid those. They have agendas, you know. Thinking, planning, plotting. He shakes his head. No, heroic instinct. That's always best. He hears us. Impossible. I can hear your surface thoughts. Why are they so different from what you're saying? The owner of that airship wants to have a word with you. Oh, good lord. Yes, that's what it was. Yep, this is the answer to a different quest. If I have thoughts, sir, then that's news. If I have thoughts, sir, then that's news to me. Are you sure he can't hear us? We are certain. Okay. Yeah, sure. The owner of that airship wants to have a word with you. That's strange, he says, sweeping back a lock of blonde hair out of his eyes. I already talked to him once. I was explaining to him how I needed to borrow an airship. He said no, so I waited until he wasn't looking and borrowed it anyway. He trails off, his golden glow diminishing slightly. A troubling thought wrestles its way onto his face. He's not angry, is he? He is very angry with you. You should talk to him. I think you owe him an apology. Apology, he says, pronouncing it like an unfamiliar word. Apologies don't fix broken airships. I don't think he'd appreciate it very much. He shakes his head. I respect him too much to waste his time like that. See, the problem is our most persuasive person is out of points here. Yeah, we gotta figure out how we're gonna deal with that. Because this is potentially the replacement for this other person. Now we can give it a shot. So my default is 25%. I could up it to 65. I could spend Alligern's points on getting up to 85%. Wait, my default's 25. I know, yeah, Tiber's is 50. But no more points to spend. See, she's sitting at 45. 65. Sorry, just figuring this out, right? If I drain Alligern, I can get up to 85. Shall we try that? And then we can get 65. Yeah. I mean, we've got things that heal, and... See, the problem is, I mean, we can always trade Alligern, you know, we can always part with Alligern and get Castellage instead, if we want a replacement nano. Choices. Let's drain Alligern. And it succeeded. Oh, good. Oh, he says, staring at the ground, his glow fades further. if you think it's the right thing to do... He blinks. And a wide smile spreads over his face. His aura flares like a star. Yes, it is the right thing to do. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to right this wrong. He strides off toward Caravanserai, whistling cheerfully. And his opinion of us has improved. That's good. Go forth and right the wrong. Pay any price to make amends. Pay any price. He's going to be so grateful when I apologize. Alright. Okay. Alright, so we kind of did that quest. I'm just curious as to see what it says now. The airship thief. Master Renio, an airship captain of the Caravanserai. The man who stole Master Renio's airship can only be Eratus, the rather unique young man I met in Cliff's Edge. I should find a way to bring Eratus before Renio to account for his actions. I convinced Eratus to go to Master Renio and apologize. I should meet up with them and see if they've resolved their dispute. Yes, that's a good idea. We'll do that soon. We may need to resolve what it... Now let's steal the airship ourselves. No. Okay. More savory. Exploring. Mother Tamaz. Mother Tamaz. This woman glares at the air above her head, her fingers fretting with a single bead and a long, peculiar chain of them. How her low, angry muttering resolves into words as you get closer. Foolish boy, shivering at the crossroads, mazed by your choices. Mazed by your choices, go on and pick beauty, pick strength, pick pleasure. Whatever that be, the particulars don't matter, boy. What matters is the choosing and what you do with it. Are you talking to me? who are you speaking to? Particular matter. The particulars matter quite a bit, I'd say. Who are you speaking to? She blinks at the empty air and her hands steal to a metallic, many-faceted bead near the end of the chain. Not you, she says, snorting. But I may as well be. Mother Tamaz knows you, lad. Born falling you were. Born in flame, shreds of your smouldering coal streaming through the air. When you struck ground, your bead first went cold, then hotter than a mother's hatred. She shakes her head and... hotter than a mother's hatred. She shakes her head and spits at her feet. Scarcely born you are, and learning quick, but you're still uncertain. All boys and girls are until they start making choices and dealing with the consequences. Until they accept the cost of being adults. Let's see. Well, she's got us pegged. Makes it sound like no choices can possibly be the right one. How do you know who I am? That's no mystery, lad, she says. That's no mystery, lad, she says, flipping her hands at you. I have your bead, don't I? I have your bead, don't I? Formed it from a pinch of the caul. I hear your thoughts as clear as moonlight in a cup. She sighs. You're confused, but that'll change. You'll have your feet under you soon enough. Not all of my children are as lucky. Hang on just a second. Alright. Sorry, I was going a different way with the accent than I was wanting to, and so I will come back now. Hi, how's it going?
I'll remember that.
Apparently I'm going to remember something. This one, she says, showing you the bead she was speaking to before you arrived. It's carved in the shape of a malformed ring. Pico wants to escape his past. He's saved a handful of shins by honest means, that is to say, it's taken him a long time. And he's too busy pissing over the options to spend it. Her fingers fold over the bead. Push him into choosing a path, lad. Do that, and I'll return your call to you. Improved through my art, and stronger than when you lost it. Ah, it apparently belongs to us. How should I help people? You haven't been listening, lad. Don't help him. Convince him to help himself. Mother Tamaz shakes her head. Agonising over a choice is foolishness. Every choice will bite you, lad. Life is building a collection of mistakes all your own. Where can we know where to find him, but go ahead and ask. Mother Tamaz trails off, closing her hand around her bead, staring into space. In Cliff's Edge. Yeah, great. Thank you for being specific. I have questions about something else. I'll talk to him if I have the time, but no promises. Please yourself, she says with a sour look at the sky. Stay safe. I want to ask other questions. Waste of time, she grumbles. I'd rather you lend your mind to the favour I asked of you, but ask and be done. Tell me about that chain of beads, please. I make one for every child I deliver. Made with wood and their mother's blood, carved in the shape of their soul. Touching their beads tells me if they're well, or more often if they're not, and need a mother's help. So, does she have something to do with... Because, yeah, she could fix the machine. She tilts an eyebrow at you. Sometimes I just witness a birth, but I still carve beads to mark the occasion, if I think the child is worth remembering. Ah, okay, so she just witnessed it. Why do people call you mother? We know this, but... I've delivered every child of a mortal womb in Cliff's Edge, she says. A smile slips unbidden onto her face. And some who are not. Yeah. Do you have any children of your own? Nay, none, never have, in fact. But as the saying goes, all children in Cliff's Edge have two mothers. That's better than having one of my own. Do you like Cliff's Edge? Still here, aren't I? She says, wrapping the chain of beads around her fingers. I like having my children all around me. I have other questions. You mentioned you had my call. That's not what it is. I'm not a fool, boy, she says dryly. But you were born above my city, so I know you, like or not. Ah, so I know you, like or not. She reaches into the bag strapped to her hip. Something glitters within. This is your call, torn from you at birth. Name it what you will, but know what it be. Can I have a look at my call? When you finish the task I asked of you, not before. Alright. Someone in particular. I? A note of wary caution enters Mother Tamaz's voice, and she drops the chain to coil snake-like into the palm of her hand. Matkina! She listens as you describe the woman you're seeking and begins to shake her head, then she recoils. You're speaking of the White Death, she growls, gripping the ends of the chain of beads in her hands and pulling them taut until all of them shiver on her string. Mark the faded ones well. The ones as cold as a long night's snow, more than a few were down to her. And her careful, careless knife. Oh, okay. The White Death. My children fall to sickness most often. Some to foolish accidents, some to murders. Your Matkina is no humble assassin, but a plague in her own right. Okay. Lord Bunkin. He's a leader of one of the slave families, she says, studying her beads casually. He has a number of opinions, that boy. Some he shares, some he doesn't. But he's got them all the same. I'm not one to share his secrets neither. Ruining a life is his business, not mine. Ah, leverage. I have nothing more to say about the man, she adds. But head over there with your mind open. He'd be happy to fill it for you. That's nice. I like that. Why doesn't he like the sticker? Couldn't say. She says with a sniff. I'm not one for politics, or politicals for that matter. Can you tell me anything else about him? Plumb his depths yourself. I'll have no part in your curiosities. We can try asking. Maybe trusted or not. We're just going to do a base check here, I think. Because, yeah, I mean, I don't want to spend any more intellect on this. So we're just going to go 50-50. Success!
I'll remember that.
She presses her lips together, eyes flickering between the distant lord and you. Yavoki blood on his mother's side, she says at last, so low you can barely hear her. I'll not turn my back on a girl in trouble, but I have no time for disgusting abhumans either. She shoots a poisonous look in the lord's direction. I'm not certain. I'm not alone in that. If people knew what he was, it would be the end of his politicking for sure and certain. Finzen. That boy makes a woman believe in gods with a soft spot for fools, she says, snorting. His mother survived a difficult birth, only to die from a scratch a few years later. His aunt raised him, if you can call it that. She shakes her head. The boy spent years working toward an early death alongside the scum of the city. Now he's a citizen and living the straighten up, she spits. Better than him are dead and forgotten. I think that's all we had, but we'll check just in case. Okay, farewell. Stay safe, my lad. Who's this? Townsperson. Hey, townsperson. I don't sleep anymore. Anything wakes me up. Arguments, footsteps on the stairs, screaming. I hear you. I have similar problems. Alright. So, we have, we now have a mission to go and talk to the kid that's up here. That goes to the underbelly. That goes to Fifth Eye Tavern. That's a thought. I want to check that out soon. Keep saving. I'm going to save over the exploration. We did good. Okay, return to game. Not too much. We don't have too much longer. Or we must go back to working on various things, crafting various things. Really glittering. What is it? The continual rise and fall of the pistons on this device suggest a massive mechanical effort. Structural similarities with the pipes in the area hint at them being part of the same machine. Of course. That's a thing to check out. Okay, this is another shop. Medelia Glittering. Hello, friend. A smiling dark-haired woman greets you, standing behind a table of trinkets. Your eyes are drawn to the three small rodents that lazily orbit her head. Three small rodents that lazily orbit her head in three floating balls. Okay. Yeah, that's there we go. They take turns hovering just out of reach of the half-mechanical, half-organic cat perched on the woman's shoulder. Interesting. The smile disappears from her face as a small tremor runs through the ground beneath your feet. That's the 7th time today. She glances nervously at the remnants of the structure next door. When that one fell, I heard them screaming, shrieking like the wind was tearing at their bones. Should I abandon my home before it abandons me, I wonder? That's a good question. She idly turns a couple of the curiosities on her table so the light catches on the various planes and materials. Then the smile returns to her face. Come, tell me which of my treasures speaks to you. How much for one of the rodent globes? Have you seen an albino woman around here? Let's start with that. She raises both eyebrows, regarding you silently for a moment. A woman with skin like alabaster. Yes, she was here, looking for help I could not give. Her own treasure was what she wished fixed. I declined. She did not take it kindly, and I haven't heard from her again. She places a gentle hand on your wrist. She is dangerous, friend, she says, her tone light, as if she were merely discussing the weather. Tread carefully wherever you happen across her. She lets go. Let's see what you have for sale. I could sell these boots. They're like 20 shins that I can get for them. But what do we have? Psychic detonation. Ooh. Mucotic platter. Heals health. 13 points of health. That could do a lot. Sylph cord. Skolark's archive. Amplified encephalic rush. Amplified encephalic rush. That's nice. Hyper elutriated force. They really dug deep into the thesaurus for this. Concentrated spray flesh. 16 points of health. Wow. I could use so many of these things right now. Regular encephalic rush, fleetfoot moss, spray flesh. Excellent. Yeah. I haven't really used any might. I could sell this. Just to get monies. Moss, speed, spray flesh. Alright. Good to know. How much for one of the rodent globes? You mean Bai, Boo, and Bao? She raises a hand and unconsciously pets one of the globes as it swings past her right ear. The tiny creature inside squeaks and scampers in a tight circle before the globe drifts out of sight. They are not for sale, my friend. I hope you are not too disappointed. Are you sure you won't sell me one of the rodent globes? Very sure, she says easily, scratching her cat beneath the chin when it gets too close to snatching one of said rodents from the air. Oh, that's all for now. Until next time, then. I mean, yeah, I may as well sell the freaking boots, but I'll have to figure out what it is we're trying to buy here. Ruins? This facade is all that remains of a house. The rest is collapsed into the sea, hundreds of meters below. Cool. Okay. I hear music. A months-old layer of dust cakes this sign, which reads, Skora the Wise, Scholar of the Iron Wind. Perhaps he went to investigate the Iron Wind more closely. He or she. Or they. Let me check my... sure, let's save again, just because we must. So we've got a little bit more to fill in here. Still exploring. Avina is playing a flute. Zeb, Nim. These look like child-type people. The girl stands outside a crumbling old house playing the flute. She wears a simple dress, and her golden hair falls past her shoulders. The melody she plays is gentle and soft, but it somehow carries to every corner of the street. As you approach, she stops playing and smiles up at you with large green eyes. Shins for a song, sir? How much? It's 8 shins for a sad song or 12 for a happy one. I'm tempted because there might be XP in it, because it might trigger a memory. Why are sad songs cheaper than happy songs? Because there are more of them, sir. Fair. Can I ask you some questions? Alright. Is this your house? Who lives here? Zeb and Nim and I live here, but it's their father's house. He's away. She looks back at the house. I wish he'd come back and fix it. I think it's going to fall down soon. Sadness. The house is in bad shape. She points to cracks around the base of the walls. Those weren't here before, and they're getting wider. We don't go inside anymore except to wash or dress. Then we come right back out. Where did Zeb's father go? He said he was going to go work for someone named Memovra the Memovra in the Bloom. Well, that explains what happened to him. He was going to be a guard. She purses her lips. He said he would come back every now and then, but he hasn't. I don't know what's happened to him. Oh boy. Tell me about Zeb and Nim. They're my friends. They miss their dad a lot, but we still have fun. Zeb watches out for us, and I'm teaching Nim to play the flute. Alright. Tell me about yourself. I was outside the city, but I've been here with Zeb and Nim since before their dad went away. So now I'm from here. Okay. Do you know who lived in the house next door? A lady named Skara. I have heard that name before. Oh, that was, yeah, just that was there. That was that sign right there. I can't remember anything. She was a nano-sorceress, but a nice one. She let us look at all the things in her workshop. Well, almost everything. There was a room where she said she kept the Iron Wind. We weren't allowed in there. She frowns. I think maybe something bad happened to her. One day she wasn't there anymore and she didn't say farewell. Yeah, so she did get a little too close to the Iron Wind, maybe. Who knows? What do you know about the Iron Wind? Just that Skara thought it was dangerous. Skura? Skara? Skura. Skura is probably closer to what we want here. I don't know. We never saw it, though, she shrugs. Maybe she was just pretending there was... She shrugs. Maybe she was just pretending there was something bad in that room. I don't know. Okay, farewell. I am tempted to pay for a song. Wait, what? What? We can loot. We can loot that area. Zebanim. Boy in rags holds out a hand as you pass. He is far too gaunt for his age. His knuckles stand out on his fingers like knots on a twig. Any shims for a family in need? Let me ask you something instead. Because I'm a jerk. It's hardly polite, sir, asking for services rendered without even offering a tip. Sorry, I can't help you. Yeah, I mean... We'll come back to this. Hang on. And give the kid 5 shins. Thank you, sir. Good fortune to you. Lost 5 shins. Yes, I know. Is this your house? Doesn't look safe. We know. That's why we stay outside most of the time, ever since Avina noticed some cracks around the walls. We only go in there to change clothes and stuff. Tell me about your family. He ducks his head. Yes, sir. There's 4 of us, counting my father, but he's gone to the Bloom, and we don't know when he'll be back. Huh. I guess I really do think of him as family. I wish we could do more for him. Mm-hmm. I'm Zeb, and he points toward a little girl kicking a rock in a circle, and an older girl who is playing a flute. You notice that they look considerably more well-fed than Zeb. That's Nim, my little sister. And the girl with the flute is Avina. She's not actually our sister, but she's still family, and there's no one else. That's it. There's someone else. Tell me about your father. What's his name? How long has he been in the Bloom? His name is Zeb, too. Zebek Uralau. Uralau? Uralau. Zebak. And it's been a year, at least. He went to work for the Memavra. For a while, she sent shins back, but then they stopped. I haven't heard from him since. He squirms, uncomfortable. The Bloom's like that, though. Sometimes it doesn't let anything out. I figured he's just waiting till it opens up again. What if he's... No, he's fine. I'm sure he's fine. What do you know about the Bloom? My dad always called it a schist hole. It was... But CDC said it was a schist hole full of shins, so he was going to pull up his boots and wade in. He shrugs. I don't know much else about it. They say it's a monster and people live inside. You can see it from the caravanserai, but they don't let anybody down there. Well, they didn't let me down there anyway. Yeah, I saw that. Looks scary to me. I can't believe Dad went down there. What do you know about the Mamavara? She's the boss in the Bloom, the mayor or something. My dad works for her. He's one of her guards. Is Nim okay? Life must be hard on her. She's okay. Doesn't know anything else, really. She misses our dad, though. His eyes cloud. She never really knew our mom. So at least she doesn't miss her. Yeah. Tell me about Avina. She's been with us since before we left, but she's never said where she came from. Maybe she doesn't know. He looks across at Avina. I'm glad she's here. She notices things. Better look out than I am, and she catches a lot of shins with that flute of hers, too. Let me ask you about something else. Anything else? Does anyone else live back here? There used to be a lady who lived next door, a nano-sorceress, but she disappeared a while back. And there was a family 2 doors down. We heard them screaming on the night their house fell into the sea. He shudders and looks away. My sister Nim was friends with their little girl. Ah. Anything else about the area? Hardly anybody comes through here anymore. It's nice and quiet, I guess. Better than the rest of Cliff's Edge. Alright, farewell. Good fortune to you, sir. And we will talk to Nim, because we must harvest the knowledge from every single NPC's mind. A little girl in a patched tunic kicks a pebble while reciting in a sing-song voice, joy, 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 sorrow, joy, sorrow, joy, 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 joy. Hi, what are you playing? Red Tide. She stomps her feet. You ruined it! I was about to get 5 joys in it! She shrinks back as she realizes she just shouted at someone she doesn't know. My brother usually talks to all strangers. Can I ask you some questions? No, I should have just watched her play. Nervous, she glances at the older boy nearby. I guess. Tell me about the game you're playing. It's called Sorrow and Joy. I made it up. She starts kicking the pebble first. Again, first with her left foot and then with her right. You have to kick the rock left, right, without stopping. That's joy. If you kick it twice with the same foot, that's sorrow. Ah, OCD. Excellent. I play that game all the time. 5 joys in a row means you win. 5 sorrows in a row, you lose. Is there any reason you used the word sorrow? I don't know, I just like it. Sorrow, sorrow, joy, joy, joy. Yeah. What's your name? Is this your house? My name's Nim, and this is my daddy's house, but he's not home right now. Only me and Zeb and Avina and Mittens the monster live here now. We're waiting for Daddy to come back. He said he'd come back now and then. I hope it's now. Mittens? Monster? Tell me about Zeb. Zeb is my big brother. He takes care of us. He has a knife! That's good to know. That'll be helpful. That's not look threatening then. Who is Avina? Who's that person we just spoke to? We don't remember anything. She's my sister who isn't a sister. She plays the flute. Why isn't she my sister again? She's always been here. And where is your father? He's in the Bloom being a watchman. He's coming back any day now. Daddy's strong, I miss him. See, I know we know these things already, but it's, you know, we can get more information possibly. That was not mentioned earlier. Like, who's Mittens the monster? He's our friend who lives in the alley. Mittens is nice. I think he's sad, but at least he's got us. Zeb turns toward Nim suddenly. Nim, I told you not to talk about Mittens. He looks at you with a sheepish grin. Sorry, sir. Mittens is Nim's imaginary friend. He doesn't really exist. Maybe I can answer your questions. Nim nods. Yeah, Zeb knows everything. Ask him. So we saw in Zeb's mind that he was thinking about another person, so Mittens is real. Yeah, and that's all. See, there's nothing really else we can do here. Okay, the little girl is still playing her strange rock-kicking game. The words are different now. Up, up, down. Up, down, up, 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 down. Up, 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 up. Yay! The same game, just up and down instead of joy and sorrow. Interesting. Also, she has not quite hit the Konami code yet, but we're waiting. Leave her alone. Yeah. Alright, so what we're gonna do... Examine... I mean, we have a child with us. Does that not buy us any goodwill? Judging by the tiles, shingles, and bricks that are piled here, these are the remains of collapsed buildings. Carefully pushed out of sight. Time to loot! I wonder if saving before looting is advised.
I'm ready.
Ready to loot. Yes! More shins. Excellent. Okay, I'm
ready.
This is a large machine. That is a Stickus. So I believe we have located the Stickus they're looking for. I'm going to save the game one more time here. Actually, we just saved the game. Doesn't matter. But we have come to the end of our time, so I'm going to we're going to leave it there just before we tackle the Stickus, or do something with the Stickus. So there we are. I mean, let's save again. Sure. All right. And there we have it. There we have it. All right. There we have it. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Well, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching, folks. This is getting interesting. We're going to tackle the Stickus next time. And I very much appreciate your folks tuning in. And so what do we have going on? So tomorrow morning, again, like 9:30 in the morning, Eastern Time, we'll be continuing We Happy Few. And so we shall be, once again, romping through that. It's delightful. This is the off week for Cold Ruins of Last Life. And actually, it's, you know, the Cold Ruins of Last Life is on a hiatus right now until, a short hiatus until just it's a Christmas break type thing, seasonal break, holiday break. And it'll be coming back in the new year. But Sunday we are going to be playing it's another game of My Life with Master, tabletop RPG, but we're going to use the seasonal variant, My Life with Santa, and so it's normally it's a game where you have people playing minions of a sort of Dr. Frankenstein-like master trying to break free of his hold, and this time that tyrannical master is going to be Santa Claus. I expect it to be wrong in every possible way, and I am very much looking forward to it. So we're going to be diving into that, and so hopefully that'll be a lot of fun. And that's it for this week. We are we're getting closer to the end of the year here. I'm going to possibly try to record another ramble for my Jim Yes That Jim podcast. We'll have to see if I can get that in somewhere within the next week or so, because I just feel it's time. A lot of things going on, a lot of things I want to sort of try to figure out kind of how I'm getting everything together. But 1 week from today, provided everything's together, we'll be continuing this and finding out what we do with the Stika. And sort of kind of go from there. So I'm very much looking forward to that. In the meantime, I think that'll be about it for now. Take care, folks, and I will see you all of a sudden.